Welcome back everyone, my name is Eltamar and we're going to be continuing our Let's Play of Rogue Trader. Where we looked last time, we had to pick a new place to go because we finished Uric 5 and we apparently can scan it? I'm just going to quickly scan it. We have nothing to extract apparently. Okay. Fair enough. We explored it, nothing really happened there. There's a couple more places we can go. Rykad Majoris has New Blood, Machine Spirit Keeper, and land on Rykad Minoris. There's an unidentified void ship here, which we don't know anything about. We can visit Rykad Philia, the prison planetoid, or Rykad Majoris, which just has a scan, no quest associated with it. Let's go there first. Anything there? No, apparently not. Maybe we can't extract because we don't have any mining things. That actually makes a lot of sense. I guess we'll go to the prison planetoid first, and then we'll go to Rykad Minoris. Lord Captain, there's some commotion on the officer's deck. The Lady Navigator has left her quarters and is currently in the wardroom, where uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what has brought Cassia to the deck. Okay. Something's going on with our navigator. He's having a moment. We also don't want her to blow up the ship. What's up?
Lord Captain, my apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
The Lady Navigator is engrossed in perusing the dusty tomes which appear to have been neglected by the other officers, be it because of sloth or dullness of mind. When you walk closer, Cassia looks up at you, starts, and hides a weathered book in her behind her back. I point at the book. I see you're fond of reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing.
Cassia carefully shows you the book, which turns out to be a collection of works by the Cadian naval commander and poet Alias Quent.
Uric 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
Cassia gently brushes the dust off the cover with her thin, clawed hand, her eyes filled with longing after reminiscing about her lost home. I hope you had ample time to calm yourself and your powers.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility. But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting.
Cassia tosses her head back and straightens. Are you satisfied with your new attendance?
Your servants are somewhat sluggish when it comes to attending a noblewoman of the Navis nobility, but they are quite tolerable. Thank you for your concern.
Nobility? I've been pronouncing that wrong. My bad. Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the adornment on her forehead, then awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearance of the navigators often becomes the topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It's clear she does not feel comfortable aboard a ship teeming with new people. The events that took place on Uric 5 must have shaken you greatly. Are you well?
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you.
Cassia's response is reserved and pointedly decorous, clearly intended to create a distance between you.
Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying? You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I.
After an awkward silence, Cassia frowns and purses her lips.
I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
Frightened by her own words, Cassia covers her mouth, pales, blushes, and then pales again, and hides her face behind the cascade of her snow-white hair. You know what? You have nothing to apologize for this particular time. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad, and it's just as natural to share them with others.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here?
The primness of her expression cracks, revealing a great weariness beneath. Weariness. She places her hand on her breastplate.
At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls, and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but... My delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
I would rather we find amusement elsewhere, perhaps in the privacy of my chambers.
Lord Captain, what do you think you are doing? Saying such a thing to someone with whom you are barely acquainted? It is outrageous. It's obscene. You should better familiarize yourself with some of the works in your library to learn how one ought to behave around a lady.
She frowns and her cheeks turn paler than usual. We started apparently that started a romance. Alright, struggling to maintain an expression of polite indifference, she turns on her heel and swiftly exits the room. Are you taking the book? No. Okay, you're leaving the book. Apparently that was the start of a romance. I was being very lascivious there. I guess we can go. Where are we? Oh, there's a goods. Does it actually count as goods? Oh, that's the book. How to express your feelings to a lady. Okay, I'll read that later. She's giving us instructions on how to woo her, apparently. Nothing around here. This is that one chamber where we opened some doors and got some loot. They fixed this door, which is nice. I believe it was blown open when we went through the first time. By an explosion or perhaps ruinous powers. Alright, back to the Expanse map. Let's head out again. And we're going to continue on our way to this place. Okay. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. Bigdis pauses as if listening to something. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Wersarian's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. We didn't even get that far. People just want a piece of us right now. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger, Abelard's voice the loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman, standing before Abelard, strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak with Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant, you may address Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards a higher-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avrilla Vent, requesting permission to speak. Vent falls silent, then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. I will not tolerate this kind of conduct on my ship. Abelard, assign the Lieutenant to an appropriate punishment. Lieutenant, you have 1 minute to state your business. Yes, Lord Captain, listen to my report and punish me as you wish. But all that matters is you hear me out, says Vent, a pleading note in her voice. The matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks in order to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced this step is unwarranted, and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Bent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Wersarian, and to intervene what is happening on the lower decks, because very soon we'll have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She's clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at us. Where does Seneschal Wersarian come into all this? I shall explain, Abelard intones grimly. I beg you to hurry, time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There's an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valentius will find refuge on her ship. You're far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Wersarian. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven people to the brink, Ven says bitterly. Now there's a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 workers' clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. Abelard, what do you gotta say about this? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You'll see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way you will stop the uprising before it begins. I've heard enough. I'll go down to the lower decks and deal with the problem personally. Praise the Emperor. Vent cannot contain her relief. Thank you, Lord Captain. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Captain. However, I categorically insist I escort you. Fair enough, you can come along, I don't care. This could be a battle. It looks like we have these 2 that have to come along and these 3 that are coming along. Alright. Are we gonna have some sort of bite here? We can't afford to lose Abelard, so I'll kill all of them if I have to. He's our only tank. Wow, nobles from the upper decks down here to see us. Hey, it's Wersarian. Take that, scum. Did you just throw acid? Look who it is. This is all his fault. All of it. He's just like, whatever. Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one. A rare moment where he allows his age and wariness to show through his armor like a veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Those people dared disrespect a senior officer? They will not have the chance to express such disrespect if we were not here, and if the situation had been dealt with by relevant officers. Abelard grimaces. It is a junior officer's worst failing to pass problems up the chain of command. I've never been able to abide it, and I shall say it again. It was a mistake to come here on Lieutenant Vent's whim, Lord Captain. I must admit that the lieutenant is by no means the worst material for an officer, he adds peevishly, but in the name of Terra, the girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the gall to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hunt down cultists. It'll be another 20 years at least before she can be acted to trust without oversight. Let's get moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. Okay, let's read some things. Something resembling a nest made out of thermal insulation material. This must be where the workers sleep between shifts. It's kind of horrifying.
It's about time.
Lower deck rabble. There's a valve here. Can we just start pushing valves? No, it doesn't look like we can. Okay. There's another valve up here. Lower deck rabble.
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Huge pipes, the arteries of the ship run through many bays, delivering air, water, heat, and propulsion force of steam.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower...
Oh, something's going on. The sounds of heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avril Event of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer, and judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and is now reaching a boiling point. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest and purge this sector. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz in here without my express permission. First officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears, Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Lieutenant Bent, the officer looming over her, or both. Your lordship, noticing you, the 2 junior officers snap to attention and salute, the subordinates following suit a moment later. I encountered some locals on our way here. Their conduct was outrageous. They even tried to throw things at us. Bent pales slightly. The people are getting desperate, clearly. They saw the assault unit and they decided they had nothing left to lose. I mean, I apologize, Lord Captain, it's outrageous. I'm sure the people simply didn't recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once the current situation is resolved. I want to speak with the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in her eyes. But the assault team just ran right in, so... There's a handful of strikers here. We could probably kill them all in like one big attack with our navigator. A dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at us. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the very discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. Who's the leader of this rabble? A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in the reactions. Finally, 3 people break free from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you've come down to us. We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to their limit, and now they're lashing out. As if we don't know why these top deck units are being sent here down here. Like that one there that the lieutenant wouldn't let pass. Our clans are all inside the bay that's been sealed off, but the lower decks are big. I'm sure there's some people who just about had enough. We're getting it from all sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who have risen up. A death squad has just arrived. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. Their words seem sincere to you, as their body language and the glances traded between them reveal that the news of the attack has shocked them. What's troubling you? Why are you striking here? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship, says a tall, thin man in a worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet, snaps the old woman who turns her dark, hostile eyes on you. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word, and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to the whole base for a week at a time so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of these enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amidships and has no feeling towards us. The grim man with the scarred face throws up his arms. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers. Your servants. We've plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started apropos of nothing, you say? I was told that one of you is in possession of a cultist amulet, and there are heretics hiding here. A cultist amulet? What's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? Was it something evil or forbidden? We sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation would be punished. But how could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not, and if there was, I'd be the first to report them. As for this amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising fools looted the body. Folks looted the body. The boots they came back with. Nobody's tried these decks in boots so fine, I can tell you that. Seems to me the cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, those boots were really fine, and there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by somebody who didn't know better. We don't need amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor, and when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the servo motor. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your lordship, we're people of faith. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the arch-enemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I'd had my third little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the blame of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when the beasts crawl out of the amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who was not there, or the scavenger who brought down evil upon himself and his neighbors? Abelard, I got anything to add? I authorized the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Abelard frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence. Nevertheless, I'm certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. What changes do you want? Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain himself is asking bilge rats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves, and if these cultists do show their faces... I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. You've gone too far, old Nan. They'll never let the maggots on the lower deck live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks, too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbors out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop harassing us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies, and we'll talk to them. One lower decker to another. If there are any more of these damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. You speak for yourself and your clan, I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns his back, those brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared speak out. The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time falling silent, making a few vague noises of approval. Let's use coercion. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we'll consider the rest. The tall worker they call Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old man, listen. Listen, the Lord Commander himself has come down to us and is offering concessions. I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to the rogue traitor, let alone talked to them. Back down. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, Nan. The three clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made up our minds. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to dismount the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman, but I'll shut up. I will indeed. I won't go against two clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. That's great, just fantastic. Lord Captain Orell agreed. Then it's decided the persecution will stop, and I expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your Lordship, thank you. You've not abandoned us lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, Your Lordship, we'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. I'm sure Abelard's going to want to talk. Is there anything else to loot down here, actually, now that we're going to just steal from the lower deckers? You never, there could be goods. Although it doesn't look like it. There's no treasure noted on the mini-map, and there's all these valves, but we can't use them, so... Oh, there's definitely goods. Look at that. Let's go steal their hyperdynamic capacitors, their reinforced thermoplast, and their multi-key. Nice. There is one more little area we have... Oh, there's something here. The heat sink warms the air around it to a scorching temperature. This is the warmest part of the bay. The workers even drag deck chairs here.
Follow my lead!
This page is marked where the start of each shift is marked. The last mark is missing. The workers went on strike. Well, they're back to normal now, so that's fine. We solved the problem.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Where's this little area? Here, I guess there's a door.
I won't tolerate weakness.
There's some goods in here. Although it's not showing up on the mini-map, so we gotta be careful. A machine right set and a bunch of other junk. What's this? Inside the box, a string of scratched letters runs along the edge. Different first names, but the same surname. It looks like this box has been passed down in the family from generation to generation. It's a family box.
A new challenge for me?
That's kind of sad. Alright, well, it looks like that's about it down here. Let's take a quick glance around. for anything else we missed, and then we'll get out of here. Nothing there. We've already looked in here. We'll just double check. Nothing else. Okay, up here. Can't go through that door. Just more valves that we can't touch.
It's about time.
Anything over here? Nope, nothing there. And that's about it. Let's get out of here then, I guess. Oh, something just happened. Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses you and your other companions, saying, "I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment." Abelard looks at you. His last vestiges of restraint vanished. "Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain?" You kowtowed the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them with open arms and allow them to wreak havoc however they like because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valencia's Protectorate? Let's talk about your role in all this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. "I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene," he says irascibly. "Remember, Lord Captain Theodora, do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, did she not? She did not. Such matters were left to myself or the junior officers, while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate, as any true strategist of the rogue trader ought. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have ended up dead. There's a new Lord Commander aboard the ship now, and I will not repeat her mistakes." She looks at us stunned and exhales loudly, then he nods curtly. "I commend your decisiveness, but I'm uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis." And Abelard stands straight at attention. "I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself." Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. "The prosperity of the Von Valencia's Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds a sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like flimsy hanger on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I'm not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I'm duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find footing as quickly as possible, and to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Theodora trusted in the established procedures and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Valencia's Protectorate with me, stop living in the past. He nods solemnly, then inclines his head. Yes, Lord Captain. After a moment's silence, he adds, looking at you with interest, your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment, should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places. Basically called him out, and I'm like, hey, stop being I'm stuck. Okay, we can just click on that. Oh, everyone else is already gone. Okay. They all went up to the bridge like, well, let's not be here anymore. This is going to be an awkward conversation between the leadership of the ship. I think we're going to have to call it here, though. We spent a lot of time dealing with secondary things. A couple events kicked off. And we gained a level for doing that. Alright, let's gain our level. We're now level 7. I'm going to need to load up my notepad. Here we go. Okay. So we have two, I guess, choices that is suggested, or that my friend suggested. We can increase resolve by stuff until the end of combat. And if the target's under the effective voice of command, they'll start their next turn with an additional action point, which is really good. The other one it recommends, or that he recommended, I guess, is Shield of the Emperor. Until the start of the Psyker's next turn, all allies affected by Word of the Emperor increase their deflection and armor. It can only be used while there's at least one ally affected by Word of the Emperor, which is our big buff. But I'm kind of tempted to take the Air of Authority when it gives an extra action point, which could be really good. Or, I mean, Shield of the Emperor is actually really good too. Sorry about that, I had to clear my throat there for a sec. I think I'm going to take Shield of the Emperor. And we need... what is the other thing we need? Okay, the other thing we want to take is apparently Still Mind. The Psyker's Resolve is increased by willpower bonus divided by 2, while Veiled Degradation is 10 or lower. Great. And that's going to be the end of our video. We'll level up everyone else at the beginning. Actually, can we just do it now? Yeah, we can totally just do it now. Alright, let's just do this. I don't have any builds for these people, so I'm just winging these ones. He also has the... maybe she doesn't have the Emperor thing. Let's get back in the fight. Removes burning, bleeding, toxin, and stun effects. They also get temporary wounds if they have Voice of Command, which is that one. Break their ranks. No. Move. No. We need Glimpse of Fate or Reveal the Light. Reveal the Light. To get, Immolate the Soul, or Mend Reality. That lowers the Veil Degradation problems. Target gains willpower, and toughness till the end of combat. It's actually pretty nice. We can make her a better buffer as well, or Held My Gaze. Navigator deals damage to an enemy. They must pass a willpower test or become immobilized. That's also pretty good. Waking Nightmare, what's that? All enemies within the area of effect suffer a negative 10 plus 2 times the willpower bonus penalty to their willpower and toughness at the end of combat. That's a big debuff for our enemies. Maybe she should be a debuffer. So if we go that one, then Warp Curse Unleash. All warp damage is increased. All other types of incoming damage increased. And enemy closest to them becomes cursed. Alright, let's take Waking Nightmares and then we'll get Warp Curse Unleash, I think. We'll make her more of a debuffer and our main character a buffer. That's what it is. Oh, we have another ability to choose. Okay. Armor's nice. We're looking for debuffs. This one. While under the effect of any navigator power, enemies have their armor reduced by 2 times the willpower bonus. This reduction is increased by a devastating parameter of the navigator staff, but does not stack. Probably that one. Yeah, let's do Undam the Sea of Souls. That sounds pretty awesome. We already have that one, right? Hang on, if that's checkmarked, what can we do with it? You already have this feature, it says. Okay. Let's go Undam the Sea of Souls. Alright, and Argenta levels up, obviously. She gets a new skill point. I'm going to take... what's her agility? We're going to try and level agility and ballistic skill equally, so let's give her 50 agility, and she gets this. While under 40% wounds, Imperial characters gain a plus 10 bonus to characteristics and 2 to resolve. If no other character in the current party is the same archetype as this character, the first archetype ability costs 1 less. Imperial world characters gain crit chance and armor against Xenos or demonic creatures, and their allies gain half the bonuses of No Heresy. However, their lore, Xenos, and Warper are always 0. I mean, they're not great to start with, but ready to serve when they're damaged or they're affected by a non-damaging ability or affects an ally with an ability. Their resolve is increased for 1 round. All allies, excluding Xenos, in the current party gain a plus 5 to the same characteristic as was chosen for humanity's finest. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. Melee, Flame, and Melta attacks against demons and psychers deal an additional 2 times willpower bonus. What's her willpower? 35, it's not the greatest. And gain willpower armor pen. Such attacks against Xenos deal an additional 3 damage. She doesn't really use Melta stuff, though. She uses Laz guns. Litany of Hatred. Devotee and their allies in the area of effect of the War Hymn and Furious Recital gain some damage for single shots and attack of opportunity for 1 round. It's not bad. Purification. They gain 1 stack of Disturbed. Enemies that are in gain 2 stacks of Disturbed instead. All demons suffer damage equal to the amount of momentum restored to the devotee while using this ability. Shield of Faith. Gain 4 times willpower bonus and armor against demons and warp damage. 3% chance to ignore any enemy attack. That's kind of a... Maybe we just grab, like, power weapon. Is a lasgun a power weapon? I'm willing to bet it is. Yes, that's fine. I just want to check something real quick. Would you say this is a power weapon? It's a ranged weapon. Does that count? It doesn't really say what it is. It's las. Maybe that doesn't count as power. Maybe it's more like power swords or... Yeah, okay, so maybe not that one. Let's grab that back again. Agility. Just want something that gives her more attack from range. Is there like a las weapon? Yes, there is. Okay. Negative 20 penalty to dodge against the las weapon attacks. That's not that good though. I mean, it's okay. We can just get 5 to a skill. That's not that good though. I mean, it's good, but don't get me wrong, but... Shield of Faith isn't bad. How many Imperial World characters do we have? At least 1. Possibly 2. Not a lot, though. What did she choose for Humanity's Finest, I wonder? Does it show that anywhere? No, I don't think so. Okay. Let's just grab agility and... And what? Litany of Hatred, maybe. Devotee and their allies in the area of War Hymn or Furious Recital. Maybe we get War Hymn later. Okay, yeah, let's just do that. Not entirely sure how to build her yet, but that's fine. Alright, Joint Attack. Allies attacks remove exploits and deal int damage. Target's cover efficiency is reduced by 5. That's not bad. Precise attack might be the one we go with. And that's actually pretty cool. But she uses more brain power than gun power. Although we could make her more gun power, I guess. This is not bad. Creates an area that lasts until the start of the Psyker's next turn. All allies within that area gain Psi rating bonus to dodge. What's her Psi rating? I don't actually know. Where would it show that? That's parry. That's resolve. Dodge. Dodge. Armor. Unclear where Psi rating is shown. Maybe it's listed here somewhere. I don't know, but let's grab that. That sounds awesome. Dodging is always good. Then we can get perfect timing as well, I think. Needs prescience or foreboding, which is that one. What's prescience do? Target gains that stuff to perception, fellowship, willpower, and intelligence. That's actually incredibly good as well. And then perfect timing. When an ally under this effect dodges or parries an attack, the ally has a weapon capable of reaching the attacker. They have attack and has an attack that costs 1 or less AP, they automatically counterattack with the weapon, and perfect timing fades. Also can grab... What's divination? Or we can take biomancy and get healing. We could make her a healer. But we already have someone that's going buffing. Maybe we get biomancy later. I think I like foreboding the most. Or do we want a healer? Because we don't have any healers. Okay, you know what? Let's get a healer. Is she good at healing? I have no idea. She's got good willpower. That's psychic powers, right? If she can heal with psychic powers, that'd be good. I suppose? We have logic or tech use up. Tech she's okay at. What's her logic? Logic's 35. What's she actually good at? Awareness. She's actually incredibly good at awareness. Let's just grab awareness. Oh, interesting. It's already going up by 5. But if we put a point into it, it only goes up by 10, whereas everything else just goes up by 10. We should pick something else we want her to be good at, like maybe Medicae? She can't use medical things, though. Or maybe she can? She doesn't have very good intelligence, though, so maybe not that one. Tech use uses perception, which she's good at. That's like lockpicking and stuff, I think. We can give her some tech use. I'm gonna go back to this for a sec. I'm still not quite sure I want to go biomancy. It's a whole new tree, or a whole new archetype or whatever. Whereas we can give her foreboding, and she already has a dodge one as well. Gives everyone better dodge. I think I'm gonna grab that. Okay, and tech use is fine. We're not playing on the hardest difficulty, and to be fair, this is a first playthrough, so I'm not too worried about picking the best stuff. Weapon skill, toughness. Toughness is already going up by 5. But if we take toughness, it gives us carouse by 5, but I don't care. What's going to take weapon skill? Actually, what's strength do? Damage. Let's take strength then. Weapon skill gives to hit, right? And critical hit, but strength is just raw damage. Let's get some strength going. Alright, these are all the same as the ones for Argenta. All allies affected by Brace for Impact. Is Brace for Impact like a AoE thing? Must be. Okay. Anyways, just suffer negative effects of melee superiority for the entire combat. Get into cover. They increase their cover efficiency by 20%. Brace for Impact always also allows a Navy officer to use any ranged weapon. Nah. I think you have to have that quick. Maybe? I don't know. Perfect timing. Brace for Impact gains cover penetration. They also permanently gain 15 to cover penetration. However, he doesn't use... He's melee. Only half damage for attacks of opportunity. Is that all he's got going for him? Oh, he's got these things, right? I mean, no heresy might be good for him. We could also give him some power stuff. Eventually he's probably going to have a power sword, I would imagine, right? But let's see what else we got. It will not die. What's that? Increases wounds by half of the character's level, rounded up. So it's toughness, basically. Here's level 6. It would increase it by 3, which isn't a lot. But by the end of the game, I think our max level is 50, so that's 25 hit points. It's a decent amount. Parry. Can attack with a second... So we could have 2 weapons on him? Interesting. Character can attack with a second weapon in their current weapon set, in addition to the usual 1 attack per round. This attack suffers a negative 20 penalty to weapon skill and ballistic skill, and costs 1 AP more. Interesting. Chain weapons. We don't have a weapon of choice yet for him, so he's just using a chain sword, which is a good weapon, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he's going to have a chain sword forever. What if we get power sword, or a power fist, or a power hammer? Or any of the power weapons, really. +2 movement. Actually, that could be extremely good for him. He needs to get into combat fast, and that's a lot of movement. I might actually just go with that one. He needs to get into melee faster, so you know what? I'll do that. Alright, I think we're done. Like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Others, I'll see you next time. I imagine there's a way to respec characters later if we screw them up, but if there's not, we'll just wing it. Can't be that bad. Take care. See you next time.